I hope everybody's having a phenomenal day. I'm here with Firecracker in Central Texas. Dan Golka and I just got here to Texas with my good friend Aaron at the Bug Out property. And he just had this little guy, Firecracker, about 2 weeks ago. And we're gonna be here for about 2 weeks, gonna shoot a lot of incredible video for all of you. So please watch all the videos and watch this video coming up. Come on, Firecracker. I wanna thank everybody for tuning in, and I want to remind everybody before we start this video this evening to please come over to my Patreon channel. We're going to be uploading a lot of videos here in Texas, so please come over to Patreon. Really helps us support the message, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things over on Patreon that I think are going to be so important to every one of you. So please come over, check it out. Go to my website, jeremiahbabe.com, link down below. If you go to the website, it'll take you to Patreon. You can join up right there. But without further ado, I want to get into this YouTube video right now with my good friend Aaron. Many of you may remember Aaron a couple years ago when I first came out here to Texas. Aaron's allowed me to use this property as a bug out to bring gear, to bring equipment and supplies here in case I ever have to leave California. And Aaron, I want to thank you again immensely for inviting myself and Dan out here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you're back.
Thank you so much. Many of you might know that Aaron is in law enforcement, and many of you probably may not have seen the videos from years ago, but Aaron and I are very, very good friends. We talk on a daily basis, and we're here today, and we're here for a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. Dan Golka and myself came here, and instead of taking a vacation, going to Hawaii or Las Vegas, or taking the money and just burning it on something else, we thought it was so important to come here and really learn something, really talk with Aaron, put out some really informative videos on the importance of preparation, the importance of critically thinking for yourself, being self-sufficient, especially with everything that is happening economically across the globe. And I want to share some articles here with all of you, and I want to get the opinion here of Aaron, and I want to get his mindset on a few things, and I want him to expand on some of these articles and what he thinks. But the first one, Aaron, that I want to share with everybody is from The Hedge. Container freight rates spike to new extremes, up 500% for Asia to US, Asia to Europe, up 500% since early 2000. And it says the worst is yet to come. Prices are soaring, Aaron. What are you seeing here in Texas?
A lot of the things we're seeing here, obviously your fuel prices, your energy prices have gone up. Yeah. Obviously at the stores, your groceries are going up. I remember I called you the other day, and I just told you that I wanted to buy, it was 2 pounds of bacon. Yeah. It was $16. Right. And like a year ago, that would have probably been around $8.
Wow, so doubled. Yeah. And it's even more expensive in California. So prices are soaring. And last year, gas here was $1.60. Now it's $2.89. And you were saying that minimum wage in Texas is $7.25.
Right, absolutely. So, I mean, it's, if you're making minimum wage, you have to work, an hour to get 2 gallons of gas in your vehicle.
Right. You were also saying that your truck's been in the shop for what, 6 weeks?
6 weeks, yeah. And so I called and I was like, man, what is taking so long? It's just, it got some hail damage. And come to find out, it just took forever to get the hood.
Right, because the hood's coming from another country. Right. And so we are now seeing the repercussions of our reliance on other countries for pharmaceuticals, for car parts, for chips, for semiconductors. Dan Golka and myself, we're driving out here, and we're talking about this all the way up here. Food prices, gas prices, and we went through a couple towns. We went through a couple towns in New Mexico, and it looked like Detroit of the desert. And this didn't just happen a year ago. We are seeing middle America, small town America, the small business owner, the small restaurant owner, the medium business owner being absolutely decimated. And when you have people making $7.25 an hour and they're paying $3 for a gallon of gas, I mean, something's got to give, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do see where a lot of the places are offering quite a bit over minimum wage.
Yeah.
But,
to try and get those people back.
Right.
Right. And now when they do get those people back, you may see those wages go back down.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but I think we can all agree on that. You know, whether you're making $7.25 an hour or $10.25 an hour or $15 an hour, when gas in California is $5 a gallon,
Yeah.
Or if you're out here working for $7 or $10 an hour and it's $3 a gallon, or a loaf of bread, you know, is $5, we are seeing massive shrinkflation taking place every day I go to a grocery store. So, what are you seeing in regards to the shrinkflation that we're hearing that word literally weekly now?
I've seen the prices going up. Honestly, I mean, I just purchase, you know, what I normally do, but I've noticed that it's definitely gone up because, I mean, I'm not going to not purchase these items, you know, but there are people that can't do that.
Right.
And
yeah, somebody who's making less money, who's making minimum wage, you know, when we start talking lower middle class or the poor, they're really going to be affected here, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Or, you know, they're just going to have to make adjustment and, you know, instead of getting, you know, steak, you know, they get the ground meat.
Right.
Or instead of ground meat.
Right. We were talking about that earlier. So, or you know, you don't take the chicken, you get deli meat. You don't get the hot dogs, you get the Spam.
Right.
So somewhere people are going to have to start cutting something out of their life, correct?
Right.
Now, what about like people you know, family members, friends, anything like that? You know, anything going on where you are seeing people having to cut things out? Anything that?
I know a couple buddies of mine have started using, you know, credit cards and stuff like that, you know, to make ends meet. But you know, for the most part, I mean, I've got a pretty small circle of friends, and I try and associate with people that, you know, kind of have their stuff together.
Right.
So
you kind of hang with like-minded people.
Right. Absolutely.
DailyMail.com. America stockpiles. Supermarkets buy up to 25% more supplies as they predict inflation will soar and cost of essentials like bacon and milk rising by up to 14%. This goes back to the 2 pounds of bacon, $16. Right. And you were saying that you know you've got cattle out here that you know you used to sell the cattle.
Right. So I'm actually looking at, you know, maybe instead of taking the sale barn. And you know, you just, you know, sell it and, you know, you get money for the thing. I'm probably going to start keeping them and butchering them,
right? You
know, because the meat's going up, you know, so much.
Right.
And what's going on is we're not getting much more at the market for selling the cow.
Yeah. And
then your middleman, which is the processing plants, are charging more on the back end. So where they're charging double for the meat, on, you know, on the supermarket, we're not getting double for.
Right. And the consumer is having to pay a lot more.
Right. So they're the ones that are doing the best here because they're paying
the processor.
Yeah, the processor, because they're paying cheap for the cows still.
Right.
And then they're raping everyone in the, you know, in the stores.
So you would so the processor is the one making out, and the consumer is the one that's really being taken advantage of here. And they're going to continue to be taken advantage of as we're going to see prices skyrocket in the stores. And you say, like we were talking earlier, that about the food shortages. You know, people talk about droughts, and where I live in Palm Springs, it has now been documented that we have had the hottest summer since records have been kept in the Palm Springs area. And when you look at the heat and you hear about the droughts and the food shortages, that means that we're going to see less on the shelves. But you were saying earlier that, you know, ignore that is a problem, but the inflation is going to be more of a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be to where, you know, people just aren't going to be able to afford, you know, anything extra.
Yeah.
It's all going to be your essentials. So, you know, gas to get to work, your food, your energy, and you're just, all the extras are going to have to get cut out.
Right. And we were talking that now that, you know, people are running out of the stimulus money. The stimulus checks, the last stimulus checks went out in March. And now we're going to see less stimulus money flowing in the retail economy. That's less money for people to go out and spend at the grocery store. And the unemployment checks, unemployment's going to be winding down in many states. And so now people are going to be a lot more dependent on credit cards.
On their credit cards.
And you know people right now that you're starting to see this.
Right. And so that's, you know, that's bad because you're going to be paying interest on your everyday essentials that you have to have. And so, you know, if you can't use your credit card anymore, then what do? You quit paying on your house, you quit paying on your vehicle, all that stuff, you get kicked out, repoed, and then you end up on the street.
Right, and when you say essentials, that's people are using credit cards to pay rent, they're putting gas in the car, and when you're down to the wire, you're using the credit card to put gas in the car to go to work. Those are the people who are on the verge of very, very big trouble, and they're literally, one emergency away. They're one event away from big trouble. The kid falls down, needs 20 stitches. You blow an alternator, you blow a transmission, heaven forbid. Now you got big trouble. So when an individual is now relying on a credit card to pay rent, to pay for groceries, to put gas in the car, and that's like when things are getting bad, when somebody now needs a credit card to put gas in the car to go to work. This is when these people are on the verge of big trouble.
Yeah, because it's just one catastrophic event. You've got a flat tire, or engine goes, or and I mean you're out on the streets.
Yeah, you're one event away. The kid falls down, needs 20 stitches. Alternator, transmission, heaven forbid, anything like that. Emergencies always arise, right? Something's always going to come up, and you don't want to be in a situation where you're down to the credit cards. And yet people just, I don't know, Aaron, did people think that they were just going to stay at home forever, not have to work, and that they were going to get $600 and $300 benefits, that the government was going to give them unemployment checks for eternity? Did they think some kind of financial miracle was going to take place? And a lot of them went out and bought new cars during all this.
Right, yeah, it was a party time. It was free money coming in. I guess they just thought the money was just going to keep coming. Unemployment was going to keep rolling out.
And going back to the beginning of this video, Dan and I came out, look, I didn't go to Hawaii, I didn't go to Las Vegas, I didn't take the money and just blow it on toys, I didn't go out and buy electronics. I came here because we thought it was so important to come here, talk with you, make these videos, get out here, do some training, talk to some people, and really critically think for ourselves, open up our minds. And personally, I'm here looking at real estate. At some point, I'm looking at Arizona, Texas, Kentucky, maybe a couple other states as a permanent residence once things correct in the real estate market. But I love Texas, love the people here. We had a really nice lunch earlier today, and when we talk about the price of food and inflation, lunch was nearly $70. What was the name of the place?
It's Page Roadhouse.
Page Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Fantastic service, fantastic. And look, we had a lot of food. It was really, really good. But look, at the end of the day, everywhere you go, you're going to pay $15, $20 for lunch. This was really exceptionally good food, exceptionally good service, really cool place. But if you're making $7.25 minimum wage in Texas, and you have lunch, you'd have to work 2 hours just to have lunch. And this is, this to me is going to be a problem at some point. Something has to give. Whether you're making $7, $10, $15, the price of gas, the price of food, inflation, the price of pharmaceuticals, the price of healthcare, rent, etc., to drive a used vehicle. It's just going through the roof, and something has to give. And this is why sacrifice is so important. And I've known you for a few years now, and we talk daily, and we talk about sacrifice. You could be living in a bigger house, you could have a bigger pond, you could have a newer truck, but you don't. You want to elaborate on that? Right.
So everything that I own is paid for. There's like one other thing. I've got a piece of farm equipment that's financed, but zero APR. It's almost paid off. And but yeah, so I could go, I mean, my truck is nice,
yeah,
but I could afford probably to go get another one. But why?
Right.
It runs, it's fine. All I'm going to do is lose money. If I go roll that, I'm going to be paying interest and stuff. So instead of that, I roll into other assets, so cattle or
gold, silver.
Gold, silver.
Yeah. And yet people continue to take, if they make a little bit of money, they just blow it. And there's people out there, Aaron, that always say, JB, I don't have any money. I can't buy any silver. I can't put any emergency food away. I can't prepare for anything because I don't have any money. Yet these are the same people that go on social media with the $9 vanilla latte at Starbucks, the same people that go on social media, showing their elaborate weekend vacation in Las Vegas, the same people that show us the designer clothes that they're wearing out at the bar, the same people that don't ever want to make a sacrifice. And Aaron here, he's made the sacrifice. You know, it takes time and energy to be here to take care of the chickens, the cattle, the goats, the 20 acres, feed the fish. And if you're not willing to sacrifice something, then you're just not going to have anything. You got to be able to sacrifice in order to prepare.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people go on vacations and stuff like that. I'd rather own assets, you know, because I think this is only going to go on for so long, and then I'm going to, you know.
I've been on vacations before, Aaron, and they're just memories. When you have something solid, like a piece of gold or a piece of silver or a piece of property like this, Aaron doesn't have to go to a grocery store for years. He is self-sufficient for years. He's got fish and cattle and goats and chickens that give him eggs. And you're talking about gardening.
Yeah, that's in the works. I've got all the seeds, but yeah, I'm not really a green thumb, so that's something that I'm gonna have to work. Yeah, but I mean, there's always room for improvement.
And just going back to these people that always have the excuses, you know, what are these people going to do? These are going to be the same people. You know, just the other day, Wells Fargo came out and cut personal lines of credit. And my question is, what happens when the banks come out and cut the credit limits on people's credit cards? What are these same people going to do that went out and bought the new cars when they, you know, weren't working? The same people who continue to go on social media and brag to us about, you know, their lattes and their steak dinners and their Vegas vacations. The same people who have no net worth, they're a negative net worth, and the same people living off credit cards. How are they going to live, Aaron, when those credit card limits get cut in half, they're cut by you know, 3/4, or they just get cut completely? What would these people, how would they cease to exist without a credit card?
Either they're gonna, well, I mean, they're gonna lose their house, or, you know, wherever they're renting, or their mortgage, and they'll probably either end up on the streets or living with family if someone will take them in.
And speaking of the streets, when Dan and I were driving in through Austin, we noticed a tent city, and along the freeway. And you said that there are some tent cities out here, and there's tent cities throughout Texas. And you've seen our videos in Los Angeles. It's a complete crisis. Are you seeing more people going homeless and hitting the streets here in Texas?
Yes, it's definitely, there's an uptick of the homeless. I don't think we have it as bad as y'all do, but it's definitely more than I've seen since I've been out here.
Will the problem get better, or will it get worse?
I think it's just going to keep getting worse. And, you know, with the rent moratoriums and the forbearance and all that.
You do believe that a lot of those people in the rent moratorium will go homeless. They will be living in a tent.
I mean, they can't do this forever.
Yeah.
You know, and so, yeah, either they're going to end up, hopefully, you know, they have a family or friend that'll take them in, or they're going to have to downsize drastically, or they're going to end up on the street.
Right. Now, many of you may not remember, but Aaron's in law enforcement, and I'll ask you this. Are you seeing anything socially now, any repercussions of the economy where people are getting more short fused, more frustrated? You seeing anything yet?
Yeah, I think Texas is, I don't want to say we're immune to it, but I think this area is pretty decent. You know, you've got Tesla that's coming here. Yeah. You know, this is, I think, the largest growing area, I think, in the nation, the Austin area. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, it is out there, but I think it'll get worse, because I think this is just getting started.
Right. Now, earlier we were speaking, and you said a lot of Californians have come to Texas. That's a fact, no doubt about it. You can read that anywhere. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of these people in California that came to Texas or Arizona, Tennessee, wherever throughout the United States, these people that left California, many of them didn't even sell their homes in California before they, you know, came here to Texas and bought another home. They used that home as an ATM to come here and buy a house here. And many of those homes haven't even gone on the market yet. They're hoping and praying that those properties will go up higher and then sell them, or use them as rental properties. But in the meantime, they're using them as ATMs, and they now have two mortgages, one in California, one in Texas, or one in any other state that they bought a property in. And that, to me, becomes very dangerous.
Yeah, because I mean, this can't go on forever. I think this market is in a bubble when it comes to real estate, for commercial and, you know, residential. Yeah. But when that goes, yeah, it's going to get ugly.
So, in regards to the bubble, where would you put this bubble on a 1 to 10?
15.
15. So, would you buy a house right now?
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't. I mean, I would possibly sell if I had a place to go. Mm-hmm. That way, you know, take the profits, run, you know, live with a family member, or if you can
Right.
possibly downsize. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't be buying.
The Fed's buying $40 billion in mortgage-backed securities each month. What does that tell us?
Something's wrong. But if the market's that great, why are they having to pump, that kind of money into it?
They're buying everything. The buyer and seller of last resort. I want to close on this. Texas is an enormous state. California, a large state. The California power grid. I had my power shut off twice now this summer for about 4 hours. The power grid in California is extremely strained. The Palm Springs area where I live is having the hottest summer that has ever been documented. And your grid here in Texas, your power grid, you had a massive emergency here over the winter when 159 people died. And this is another reason why we're here. Prepare daily, ladies and gentlemen. Now, ours, in my area, our threat is heat. Here,
right.
You guys were not really prepared for the winter.
Well, we actually, I think it was a couple weeks ago, we had a heat wave came through, and they were telling us to conserve energy. So, and I think that's everyone that's moving here.
Yeah.
Our grid just can't sustain everyone that's coming here.
Right.
But yeah, the winter storm, it was.
But now you have, like, your house, you have made emergency preparations, and you have a wood burning stove.
Right.
And when it was 7 degrees, you actually had to open the windows up and cool the house down because it was so hot.
Right, it got too hot in there. But there was a winter probably 10 years ago when I bought the house, and it got into the teens, and the heater couldn't keep up, and I was like, no, I'm done. And that's when I went and bought the wood stove.
So in the winter here, typically a winter is maybe 20s, 30s. You guys don't get that cold.
Right. I mean, that's a cold winter is low 20s, at least for this area.
So people were not prepared for it to be this cold and for this long.
Right. Oh yeah, it went on for a week, and pipes froze, and people were getting dehydrated because their water lines froze. They weren't able to take a shower. If you didn't have bottled water, you weren't drinking anything.
You weren't drinking anything, and if you couldn't get to the store, you couldn't eat.
Right. Yeah, and then everyone went and cleaned out, the grocery stores.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you got to be critically thinking for yourself. You got to be thinking outside of the box. You've got natural disasters, earthquakes, tornadoes, freezes, heat waves, grids going down. You're on your own. Then you have, without a doubt, there is going to be an economic collapse unlike any have ever seen in the world coming
no doubt.
To the world, to America. And I think America is going to be affected probably the worst of any country. And we're going to have big problems here. And, people in America just don't prepare. They believe it can't happen to them. Look, natural disasters happen. Financial disasters happen, and we all have to come to the realization that they happen, and they're going to continue to happen. This economic collapse, in my opinion, Aaron, and I'll close it out, is going to be the worst depression America has ever seen. Do you want to close with anything?
I think it's going to be the worst depression that the world has ever seen.
Agreed.
This is the first time that the entire world has been on a fiat system. And so, we go down and we're taking everyone else with us.
Yeah, the world reserve currency, the US dollar, will take everybody down. And, again, I cannot reiterate enough, especially if you have kids. What is it going to hurt to have a little extra food and water put away, a little extra security, a plan? We are coming into some real dangerous economic times here, ladies and gentlemen. And to just do nothing, ignore it and laugh it off or hope it goes away, that's a bad plan, a recipe for disaster. Look, we all can't be Aaron, have 20 acres and a giant fish pond and cattle and animals. But Aaron, what do you say to the person that might have an apartment or have a backyard? What are the top 3 things in closing that somebody can do starting today to prepare for the worst of times?
I would say number 1 is security. We've always talked about that, because if you can't protect your assets, then why hold the rest of the stuff?
Right.
And then I would say water and food. You got to look at the things that are, so have some bottled water or whatever, at least to make a couple weeks. If a disaster.
What would be your
through.
minimum food and water supply?
Water, if you can, unlimited. Obviously.
But right now, I live in a say a 500 square foot apartment. I don't have a lot of room. Aaron, as we close this video right now, what's the minimum right now you would say to a friend or family member right now, food and water?
I would have at least a month.
At least 30 days, ladies and gentlemen. If you can have a year, have a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
God bless every one of you. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you come over and check out the Patreon channel. And I want to thank everybody for supporting this channel. Thank you so much for all your prayers, the letters, the support. Please continue to share these videos. Give these videos a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that bell notification down below and continue to walk close to God and thank God for everything you have right now. God bless.